Hey Eurovision fans, Teya Dora will represent Serbia in Eurovision 2024 with her song Ramonda. I'm going to listen and react to the live performance and also the music video, and then I'm going to give you my analysis of the song and its lyrics. Then we'll talk about Serbia's place in the contest by looking at their 10-year record and their qualification record, and finally we're going to try and answer the question, can this qualify and what can it do in the Eurovision final? So let's kiki. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Tom. I'm an Irish Eurovision analyst, and you can find all of this stuff on my Eurovision channel. So PZ happened last Saturday, very exciting finale. Teya Dora getting 12 points from the jury, 10 points from the Televote, and she's earned the right to represent Serbia in Malmö. So her real name is Teya Dora Pavlovska, and she is originally from Bor in Serbia, and she's 31 years old. And she went viral last year on TikTok with a song called Zanum. A lot of people were really excited when she submitted to PZ. So the song is called Ramonda, which is a type of flower that's native in Serbia. It's very pretty, it's purple, and it's known for its durability and resilience. So this is a metaphor that she's making in the song that we'll talk about later with the lyrics. So of course I already listened to the song when I did my PZE review of all 28 songs. Oh my god, that video took me forever. So yeah, I'm going to be focusing a little bit more on the visual aspect today, thinking about what are Serbia going to do with their staging this year. And then fingers crossed, I will also react to the music video later. I'm probably going to get flagged for audio and visual copyright, so if I do, I'll put the originals up onto my Patreon. This is Teya Dora singing Ramonda. Wanna know my secret plan? I think that is a very pretty beginning, and I love this kind of eerie, mystical, sad looking landscape. Very lonely. Beautiful opening image, so pretty. Her on a rock like a lost mermaid. Styling's gorgeous, the wet hair, this grey leather, giving angst. Lovely light coming from behind her as well. Really elegant editorial pictures. That is so pretty. That reminds me of Final Fantasy 7 and 9. Her vocal is really soft and shy. I don't know why I've got a pop on, but I do. Beautiful humming. Really, really great anticipation built up into the chorus. That is so pretty. That really soft. This song is so understated. It's very calm and measured. Beautiful imagery on the ground. We're really getting this sense of isolation and perseverance of one person. She's representing this Ramonda flower. Yeah, I really like her staging. It's a little bit like Armour, and it's giving a medieval feel as well. I have to admit, this light bit, I would like maybe to change it a little bit. It's a bit off mood. It'll improve in Malmö though. They have better lighting available. Lovely build up though, moving around the stage. Look at her getting down now. She's really confident. And we get this purple from the Ramonda flower coming in. She doesn't need to shout. She's got a confident message. I love it. Yeah, really lovely. Her performance is really believable. She believes all the words she's saying. Great, epic ending, building up. Beautiful ad-libs. I think that's better than the studio version, her ad-libs. And this ending image is so pretty. This gorgeous seed Ramonda flower blooming out of a rock, and she's sitting down like a little fairy. Yeah, this is really, really, really lovely. There's so much elegance in this. It is really thoughtful and passionate and full of emotion. I love that she doesn't shout at any point. It is like this quiet confidence. She kind of almost mumbling at the start. There's a shyness, there's a vulnerability, and she gets more confident as the song goes on. So it feels like her character in the performance grows as we go through the song, which I really, really love. You know, we have some vocalists come out and they really want to show off that they're able to hit these big notes, and it can come across a little bit shouty sometimes. She doesn't have that at all. She's got this restraint that really gives the vocal extra layers Why is this woman so sad? What's hurt her? Why is she so coy? What's bothering her? It just builds up a bit of a character. The opening, flying in over that misty sea onto this rock. A little bit of Game of Thrones, a little bit of fantasy. I love that. I want to be transported when I go to Eurovision. So I hope that we're going to get a lot of close cuts of just her, so we kind of are entering into this world. I don't want to see the audience during this part. I don't mind seeing the audience later, but at the start I want to be close up on her and this mystery rock. Some of that soft piano at the start reminds me of computer games from the noughties, particularly Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy IX, which have a Japanese composer, Nobuo Uematsu, I think? Nobuo Uematsu, who is a really famous computer game composer. It sounds like that. So I'm not sure if Teya Dora likes computer games, but I love that sound. It really does take me to a fantasy world that's got a little bit of mystery, a little bit of danger to it. So yeah, I don't know if that's an intentional reference, but that's what it evokes in me, which is cool. I love her styling. I love it's giving me a little bit of armor. I'm also getting a little bit of Game of Thrones in it. It does feel kind of medieval, so there's a timeless quality to this. It's a clever historical thing in the styling of the costume. I love the wet hair. I love the color palette of these shale grays, and then the purple being the contrast against these grays. So we have rocks and then this Ramonda flower, particularly at the end. That last image of the flower coming up is absolutely freaking divine. That's a real standout moment. And it makes me think, because in Irish culture we have a lot of things about fairies, like little fairies and little nymphs who live in flowers and under rocks. But Iceland, I think, has the same thing as well. It was actually in the Eurovision movie. So that her sitting on that rock with the flower at the end really reminds me of that. So again, this fantasy element. I believe the actual significance of it is that this flower is able to grow up even amongst rocks, so it's able to persevere even in extremely difficult circumstances. I absolutely love this, and it feels different for Serbia. You know, we've had Balkan ballads and we've had girly bops with Loco Loco, and then last year we had Samo mi se spava, which was my favorite song last year. It was my #1, and now we have this gorgeous historical feeling ballad. It just shows off the range of Serbia in a really beautiful way. We'll talk about how this will do later. Even if this doesn't do well for some reason, I still think this is really pretty, and I think that Serbian people should be proud of sending something that's different. I think it's a fantastic entry. Before I talk about the staging and the lyrics, I'm going to go in and watch the official music video. Now, the reason I'm checking out the music video is that she said in an interview that her staging at Eurovision will be more like the music video than PZ performance. I need to watch this to get an idea of what she's going to do. I'm not putting the sound on because I do not want to deal with audio copyright twice, and you already know what I think about the song. Want to know my secret bang? Oh, beautiful. Oh, I love that it's in English. Wait, pause. I want to read what that says. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never extinguish it. Oh, I like that. We're going to talk about this later in the lyrics, but I actually think that kind of like small message in English goes a big way. We'll talk about that later with the lyrics. Those opening 5 seconds are so mysterious. We have this image of a traveling light, maybe representing her hope. She's stuck on the rock in the sea. I love that image. It's so gorgeous. This looks very expensive. This light acting as a hope, building a bridge for her from her isolation to the land. This desolate landscape. This is really expensive CGI. This bit in particular feels so soft. And then we have the hardness in the video. That contrast is gorgeous. I think these visuals elevate the song. They make the song better. They add in the emotion. I actually quite like this dancing that she's doing. That, if they can pull that off on stage, I actually think that would elevate it a lot. Just adding that movement, that turmoil. And there's a story in this music video, this following of the light. What is the light? Where is it taking her? It just keeps your attention for the whole thing. And then we see this gorgeous landscape. So epic. Really fantastic. Oh, so pretty. And from this light, the flower goes, that is so gorgeous. Oh yeah, that's why. That was a really why moment at the end there. I wasn't actually expecting that. The whole thing was going, what is this like going to be? And then the fact it grew into the rock and then grew into the Ramon flower. Okay, so let's talk about staging, because that's the main reason I was watching that music video. Her styling looks fantastic. There, again, she was going for these dark colors. She had this corset on. I really like that. Maybe I like that styling just a tiny bit more than the PZ performance. Maybe we can do a mix of both. Yeah, I think the light's really cool because it helps bring you through the performance. We've seen with the ballads last year, so Estonia, Alika Bridges, Monica and Linkite, they were clever in how they were staged because they managed to have a little bit of a story and they had movement. There was no drag. There was no person standing there doing nothing for a minute. which I just don't think you can get away with in a televote only. So it's forcing people to just be a little bit more entertaining and just keep the engagement with the people at home. That is such a clever idea. Just having that light and her following it and moving around, it just provides an intrigue. What is it going to give her at the end? And then it really ties in with that Ramonda flower at the end. That is going to be such a moment where she sits down on the rock. All the imagery is really deluxe. It's very evocative of this rock world, beautifully rendered. I really, really like the staging. It's just how do they convert that to the stage? And I just think maybe it can be something similar to what Duncan Lawrence had in 2019, where he had the light coming down. We also saw lights with Sara Sipala in UMK Finland this year. She had a ball of light that went around. Maybe they just call up Sara Sipala and say, Sarah, do you mind if we borrow your staging? So Sarah had it going around her in a kind of cyclical pattern. I would prefer if it was kind of going up and down. I think just spinning like a pendulum might just not really fit with the song. And then we have this light settling somewhere. Last tableau's perfect with her sitting on the rock. Opening tableau sitting on the rock is gorgeous as well. Just fill in the gaps. I think that crazy light show that they have doesn't really work for me. It looks a tiny bit messy, but I think that they can edit that and they'll have better lighting options in Malmö. And I'll just look a little bit cleaner. That was the only moment of disconnect I felt in the performance where I wasn't focused on her anymore. I was kind of looking at, you know, the walls, wires, and I was looking at cameras. The rest of the time I was focused on her and everything that was happened. So that break, it needs to be more immersive if they want to go for this crazy feel. That's fine. They've got loads of time to work on that. I think they're in a really, really good place. They've already got such a concept. And this is one of the effects of having such an amazing stage at PZE, is that you really are saying to everybody, you should really have 80-90% of your visual concept at PZE. You don't show up with a 20% of your idea, because everybody else is going to show up with 100% of their idea on these beautiful box leveled LEDs, and you're going to look like a chump. So you have to show up with your full idea, and that's good because it means that Serbian people can vote for a complete package. You know, we saw in Germany this year, I'm sorry I keep picking on Germany, but I didn't feel like anybody had a staging concept. Everything looked like 20-30% envisaged. So it's hard to say like, okay, I don't know who the best person is because I've heard the song, I've seen their performance, but I don't know what the visuals are going to look like. With PZE, you get a really good idea. This is what this can look like in Malmö. This is the potential that it has. So I just think that they need to take a lot of the ideas, edit a few, upgrade a few more, and this is ready to go. Let's look at the lyrics. Now, so this is a translation of the lyrics, so it's going to lose a lot of the poetry and rhyming, etc. I don't have peace, there's no sleep, the night won't give way to dawn. Doomed is the one who is alone. Actually, even in English, that sounds very pretty. That doesn't sound cliche at all, it sounds lovely. So, and I got that from that opening image. You know, I think I said in my reaction, I got this sense of isolation alone, despite not knowing the words. So that's really clever visual staging when you can convey the message without people understanding the lyrics. And that's what the Serbian delegation needs to do for the whole song. It's as if underwater silence reigns. I'm screaming, but you can't hear my pain. Beyond the mountains, the gleam is white, yet there's no end in sight. 'Tis the path for the wounded. So she's talking about being able to see the future, that the future is going to be better, but it looks so far away. And I know that part of the meaning of this song is talking about Serbian people after World War I, just all the damage and destruction and recovering from everything that happened. And there's no one to guide me now to the bright Danica, which is the morning star. So possibly that is what that ball is representing, is this morning star light, the future and the hope. The world's a pyre, burning each flower. Where have they evanesced? Ramonda flower to us looks like a lilac. Okay, and then the second verse. And there's no one who would guide me, for all the stars are sound asleep. Saying prayers is of no avail. Where have they evanesced? Lilac Ramonda. So gorgeous imagery. We're getting some celestial things with stars and the galaxy, but then also this connection with nature as well. Timeless lyrics. These are all things that existed through various centuries and millennia. And finally, from the ashes rises up a single lilac Ramonda. And that's that final image of it coming up through the rock, and we get this blooming purple Ramonda flower. One thing, obviously the song is completely in Serbian, so we have Croatians and Slovenians, and we don't have North Macedonians this year. We'll be able to understand the lyrics, and they'll definitely appreciate the poetry in this. But outside of people who are going to understand the lyrics, the Serbian delegation does need to make some considerations for how do they transfer this message across. I think they've done a great job of that. The isolation on the island, this misty, murky. I liked that opening phrase in English. I can't remember the exact wording, but it was something about light and darkness. I think maybe something like that just coming up on at the start would be a really, really great opening. I also really like that last line. From the ashes rises up a single lilac Ramonda. Really, really beautiful, and it kind of sums up the song. The only problem is, if they do put that up on the screen, it takes away from that final tableau of the flower. I think it's a little bit of a tough decision, you know. Do they really want to take the focus away from that powerful image by putting up some text for people to read? Maybe not. Maybe they could have the text and then have the flower afterwards, but I would just like to see some consideration from the delegation to convey the message, because people will be curious. They want to know, what is this about? They've done a fantastic job with the imagery, but just giving a little bit of text as well will give that extra context. Okay, let's read a couple of the comments that people left on my PZE video telling me about this Ramonda flower. This is from Chris Bolosevic, saying, Ramonda is a flower. Ramonda serbica, found by Serbian botanist Josip Pancic, is an endemic flower growing in Central Balkan. It is rare and known as the phoenix flower because it can dry out completely and then spring back to life when it gets moisture. It was used as a symbol of rebirth after World War I in Serbia, since Serbia lost 1/3 of its population in that war. It's a really beautiful image of rebirth of the people, growth after difficult times. And you have this in the flower where in times of drought, it is able to survive with very little moisture, and then when it gets one drop of water, it can regrow again. So it's a really, really beautiful metaphor for something that happened historically. With another message here from Regulus Arcturus, who's a regular commenter on the channel. Ramonda has the prettiest lyrics, and like Presvika's song, it's very patriotic without going into nationalism. It's about the purple Ramonda flower that grows on Mount, oh girl, Ratanj. I don't know how to say that. It was a symbol of the Serbian people in World War I, as it's a flower that can survive in a variety of hostile conditions and only needs a drop of water to stay alive. The biggest worry with Teya Dora are her live vocals, which obviously he left that comment before the live performances. So before we talk about how this is going to do qualifying and in the final, let's talk a tiny bit about Serbia in the contest. Who are they and how have they done recently? And as I said earlier, I love the diversity that we're getting from Serbia now. This new revamp of the national final PZE, which we got in 2022, so far has given us Constracta and Luke Black and now Teya Dora. So this is a huge success for me in terms of a national final, and I know that people really love PZE now. They look forward to it. I would like if it was a little bit smaller. I think it's still a bit too big, but yeah, this is like one of the best national final revamps, up there with UMK. So hopefully Ireland can copy PZE and get our national final a big revamp as well. Yeah, we can see largely the Serbian results are pretty good. 5 qualifications in a row you can see there since 2018. Before PZE came in, you could see that they were qualifying and then coming 19th, 18th, 15th. So just not having a big effect in the final. And then Constracta coming in, the first PZE winner, and she's coming 5th. Luke Black, 24th. It was still my favorite entry last year. I thought it was amazing. Just a couple of vocal issues. I feel like of the countries in Southeast Europe, Serbia was the one I felt was going to be the next winner. Now, this year we have Croatia, who are currently #1 in the bookies. They potentially might bring the trophy down to Southeast Europe. I want somebody from Southeast Europe to win. We've had so many contests now in Northern Europe and Western Europe. I really want one of the Southeastern countries to have it, because it's going to give us a different type of show. It's going to be a different flavor. We get to go somewhere new as fans. Yeah, I love that Serbia are really kind of setting a standard in terms of national finals in the Southeast. I think that's going to positively influence other national finals in the area. You know, we've seen a lot of withdrawals from countries in that area. North Macedonia, Bulgaria, Romania, all out. Montenegro as well. So Serbia doing well is really, really important for Eurovision, because it keeps some representation in that area, and Serbia or Croatia winning or getting top 5 is gonna spur these countries to want to come back. So I really appreciate the effort and quality that goes into PZE, because we need representation from Southeast Europe. Okay, so let's talk about first, is this going to qualify? Now, this is in a pretty tough quarter. It's in the first half of the first semi-final. I do think the semi-finals are evening out now. We've had a lot of strong songs come into semi-final #2, and I feel like they're pretty even. We've also had some weak songs coming into semi-final #1. This is not one of those weak songs, by the way. Even though it's in a tough draw, I think this song is really going to stand out. If we look now at who's confirmed, this is very different from Croatia. This is different from Cyprus and Ireland and Lithuania and Poland, and it's got a little bit of an overlap with Ukraine, I'd say. You know, Ukraine does also have this kind of more serious feel with darker colors, but then we've got the rap in Ukraine, and I do feel like that song is going to have a little bit more modern visuals. We've got this kind of like metallics, whereas Teya Dora is going a little bit more medieval, so it might actually be good for Teya Dora to kind of distance herself from Ukraine, look at their national final performance and say, okay, how do we make ourselves different from that? And then in the second house, we've got Electric Fields, super different. Finland, this is totally different from Finland. Iceland, Luxembourg, Moldova, Portugal, and then Slovenia. I think there's a small overlap with Slovenia as well. So I do think they're also going to have to maybe communicate with the Slovenian delegation, not tell all their secrets, but maybe just send like a nice text message saying, hey, are you going to have a rock? What are you roughly doing? They just want to make themselves different because Raven also had a lot of this nature, beach, rocky, cave, water feel. So they just want to make sure that they're not clashing with each other. And Raven comes later. So she kind of gets the last word. You could say that Serbia gets to do the idea first, but Slovenia gets the last word. I would love both of these to qualify. I just want to see a little bit of strategy here to make it unique. Obviously, it's going to get points from Croatia and Slovenia. I think this is going to get points from almost everybody. I just think it's got that quality. It really does remind me like Alika last year. She got points from everyone. She didn't get 12s and 10s, and she qualified in 10th, and she made it through to the final. So at this point in time, I think this is going to qualify. I gotta be honest, I think it's probably going to be 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th. And actually, if we look at Serbia's qualification record recently, they aren't always on the top. Constructor was 3rd, but Luke Black was 10th. Hurricane were 8th. Nevena Bozovic was 7th. Sanja Ilic and Balkanika were 9th. Serbia really have been actually on the streak. And actually, if you go farther back, Tijana was 11th. Sanja Vucic was 10th. Bojana was 9th. Moja 3 was 11th. So in 8 of the last 9 years, Serbia has been ranked between 7th and 11th in the semi-finals. And I think this is going to be the same. I think that it'll probably come 7th, 8th, 9th, because it's not really as Televote baity as some of the other songs. It goes into the final and then the jury appears. So how do I think this will do in the final? I think this is going to get a lot of jury love. This song is really beautiful and elegant. I think it's really well sung. She does have a couple of those big notes at the end, but then she's also got these softer humming notes at the beginning as well. So it shows off a beautiful vocal range and control. I can see this having a similar jury glow up that Alika had last year. Again, she came 10th in the semi. Huge jury score and ended up coming 8th in the final. Similar story with Belgium coming 9th in the semi-final and then finishing 7th. And Lithuania the same. They also got a big jury score and end up 11th. So I definitely think that Serbia can be looking for a similar strategy. Focus your staging towards a televote in the semi-final. The jury will do its job in the final, and then this definitely has the potential to be top 13, possibly going into the top 10. Televote wise, I think it'll do well. It's definitely going to do well with southeastern countries. You got to keep in mind, a lot of people don't understand the lyrics. So if they aren't really in the mood for a ballad, they have no idea what she's singing about. If they don't pick up the imagery, I think some people are just going to be like, oh, it's a ballad. I'm going to go away and come back in 3 minutes. So this is why the delegation needs to factor in the translation element. I think this is just one of the considerations if you're sending a slower song in a foreign language. I think if you're sending like an upbeat poppy song, but even something like Shum, which is in a foreign language, but just had that manic beat and the visuals to get you through. Look, we know that a ballad in a foreign language can do well because Due Vite came 4th last year and that got a huge televote. So it is possible, but you just got to be smart. So can this win Eurovision? Let's have a look at the odds and we can see that Serbia are currently 22nd. I've had a couple of Serbian people message me when I did my odds video saying, why is Serbia so low? It's really important to realize with the odds, this is not a ranking of the songs best to worst. The odds are literally just done by how much money are being put on a person. People are looking and saying, can this song win? And I think just the fact that it's a ballad, I just think a lot of people are not wanting to bet money on a ballad unless they have some reassurance that I can do well with the televote. That's how I would be thinking as well. Like my question is, how is this going to get top 2, top 3 in the televote? We see that recent winners have always been in the top 2 or 3. So that's the question that I have answered. If you say to me, okay, jury winner odds, bet on Serbia. Yeah, I'd be much more interested in that. Or top 10 odds. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in that bet. But just winner odds, yeah, I can see how the jury question is answered. The televote question is not answered. I understand why people don't want to bet on it yet. But maybe if she has a really gorgeous rehearsal, this can move up a little bit. When the odds for the top 10 are released, I think this will be high. Okay, and finally, let's see, what does the community think about this? I already know because I did my Eurovision scoreboard. I was writing my script for my Eurovision scoreboard earlier. This is currently 10th, quite close behind Netherlands in 9th place, and it's just ahead of France in 11th. France actually, I think, is also a big competition for this. When we get to the final, who are the other ballads who are going to be competing for Teya Dora's attention? I think definitely Ukraine and France. So those are the main people that the Serbian delegation need to be looking at and saying, okay, how can we beat, how can we do better than them? How can we stand out? And then Belgium to a certain degree as well. I do feel like Belgium has a different feel. It's a bit more angry and theatrical, but I'm really happy with this entry. I think it's really, really beautiful and I can't wait to see this in Malmö. So what did you think about Teya Dora singing Ramonda? Please leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Thank you to all these people who've been supporting me on Buy Me Coffee and also PayPal. And super thanks. If you want to support the channel, I'll leave links to you in the description down below. And of course, thank you to my patrons all over the world for patronizing my channel. On my Patreon, you can get the original audio and visuals when I get copyrighted. You can be part of our My Eurovision Scoreboard group. You can get some updates on upcoming videos, and you can get some early releases. So go check that out if you're a fan. But of course, thank you so much just for watching, and maybe leaving a like and maybe sharing the video. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in another Eurovision analysis video very soon. Goodbye. Blah, 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 blah.